It's important for parents to know that they are the true experts. So if they feel like something's not right, it's probably not right. If they
Right.
if they look at their child and their child's unhappy for most of the day, even for the majority of the day, something's going on that the child's not agreeing with. And then, we touched on this, but how do they then navigate? I think what I'm hearing from you is that they should go on their gut and their intuition and see what's out there and then kind of sift through it themselves.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Mm,
So again, finding the information, evaluating that. I think some good general guidelines when it comes to evaluating maybe services or therapies that are offered is one, of course, anything that says that it's a cure or a quick
mm,
fix or like your
mm.
child absolutely will be something,
All right.
someone's
Run.
trying to scam you. It's not a
Yeah.
good idea. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
Aside from the obvious, anything that is more focused on compliance or trying to make your child maybe fit in versus supporting how they think,
mm,
um, is something to be really wary of, because as much as you don't like, one of the biggest arguments I hear is like, I don't want my child to be bullied, or they're doing this, like
mm,
if I put them in all this therapy, like this person tells me, like they'll put in this work right now and then their future will be better. These are things I hear a
mm,
lot. And some things to think about when you hear that is your child is still a child,
mm.
and children are supposed to be playing and learning naturally. Like that's just how they
Exactly.
do.
Oh, you just give me
And
goosebumps. Yeah. Yeah.
and if your child is being told or being asked to work for
Mm,
hours and hours and hours as a child,
mm,
that doesn't make sense. That's not
mm,
what they're made to do. Like
mm,
children play, children
mm,
learn the way that they do interacting with the world. And maybe, they're doing it differently. And, early
mm,
intervention isn't a bad thing. Supporting children at a young age isn't a bad thing. But asking them, to put in 40 hours a week
mm,
of structured do this, do this, do
mm,
this, that's not natural to any child. That's
mm,
not just autistic children.
mm,
Neurotypical children, you wouldn't ask them to do that either.
no.
So just consider that as well. Like if
Mm,
you're being argued with, well, this is about your child's future.
mm,
Your child may be autistic, but that doesn't mean that they aren't still a child. And like you said, whatever is your intuition about something, if you don't feel comfortable, you are allowed to stop.
mm,
I know a lot of times, even for myself, it's hard to, because it almost feels like, well, I went through all the paperwork and I got the approvals and blah 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 to finally
mm,
get into this program, and I don't know if I like it.
mm,
If you feel any sort of way about it, if you feel like, I don't know about that person, I don't know about this therapist, I don't know about this
mm,
method, stop. You are allowed to
mm,
stop. You're allowed to say
yeah.
no. You're allowed to say, this is not right for my child. Don't let people bully you into,
Mm,
thinking that you don't know about your own child, because you do know about your own child.
mm,
I think that's even with professionals who don't do maybe therapy. There's some doctors who will tell parents that they don't know what they're talking about, that their
mm,
child really isn't doing X, Y, and Z. Then you're allowed to go find a different opinion. You're
mm,
allowed to say, no, this person isn't listening to me. I know what I see. This is
mm,
what's happening. And so with those things, again, yeah. So basically things that
mm,
support the way that your child naturally learns, not,
mm,
piling on hours and hours of trying to maybe conform behavior,
mm,
but and anything that violates maybe your conscious or even just any sort of feeling about it,
mm.
those are things to maybe avoid. And yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because, like, I don't, you said that no child should be working 40 hours a week with no breaks. No adult should be doing that either. You should be taking movement breaks, or at least, just, I don't know, go for a snack. And the other thing that I remember hearing a lot was, yeah, but everybody works for reinforcement. Everybody, you work and then you get your salary. And I'm like, no, that's not how my life is run. I don't think, oh, look, wait, it's almost the 30th. I'm getting happy now. I'm happy every single day because I'm interested in what I'm doing. I'm very passionate about it, what I'm doing. So I mean, I know that that's not the case for every single person in their job, but and that would be the ideal world, right? But we can still create that for our kids. It could
Right.
be interest-based. They can, if they like Lego, we teach them everything about Lego. We can do academics with Lego. It can be a fun scenario.
Yes.
And working for a small bit of like 5 seconds with the Lego is really not, that's not going to cut it.
Right.
I don't think that's fair for anyone.
No, no. And like I think that's another thing because like again, like you said, like, well, in the real world, blah blah blah. Okay,
Mm.
but your child's like 4. Like
Exactly.
you don't ask any 4-year-old to work in the real world.
Exactly.
Okay. When you're talking about working in the real world,
Mm,
most of the time, either you're like some people are teenagers when they do, but you get more protections even then. So
yeah,
most of the time when we're talking about working in the real world, we're talking about adults who are old
mm,
enough to know when they are in a condition that they don't need to be in and they can say
mm,
no. These are
mm,
adults who um, understand how to juggle all these responsibilities, etc. So like saying like, oh, well, in the real world, blah, blah, blah. Yeah,
mm.
maybe for an 18 plus, maybe for an
Yeah,
adult who is
exactly.
developmentally 18 plus who can say no to
Yeah,
bad working conditions, but
exactly.
but you
Yeah,
can't ask your 4-year-old to be a full-time working adult. That's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Well, if you do want to, then at least give them the other option and, let them play for 40 hours a week.
There you go.
And then you ask them, do you want A or do you want B?
Yeah, there you go.
And also see like how happy they are. I was, I had such a nice conversation with Peter Vermeulen, Professor Peter Vermeulen, and he's all about happiness and bringing
Mm,
happiness into your therapy and into your sessions and just focusing on that, what makes that individual happy. Because innately, if we're happy, we're going to want to be working more. I need to tell myself to stop working because I'm so happy and passionate, So I think if we can get that right with our kids, we're going
mhm.
to see more progress in terms of they're going to learn naturally, and that's the
Yes.
ideal scenario. That's what we're
Yes.
working towards.